Hello everyone, welcome on the session on graphics. Today we are going to draw some arrows. Let's have a look on how to draw them. The supplies that you need, you can use a pencil. I'm using a very simple sketch pen. You can use a highlighter. This is a brush pen. You can use a brush pen as a highlighter or any light colored highlighter. So let's try out some arrows. Before we understand how to draw arrows, let's learn about the anatomy of an arrow. So an arrow is a pointy projectile. It has shaft and there will be an arrowhead. So generally if we see an arrowhead as a triangular part. So this is the arrowhead, a shaft, and it can have a fletching and a notch behind. So what we are going to focus on is this part. Now when we do graphic facilitation, arrows come in handy for many different things, especially when you're pointing to a direction of something or a direction of movement. That's where we use arrows. And arrows can be done creatively in many different ways. Let's try out some ways of drawing an arrow. So let's start with a very simple arrow. The shaft. If you're always confused and you feel your triangle, the head of the arrow doesn't land in the right place, right from the center put a dot. Then you can. A very simple way to draw an arrow. So that's a simple arrow. Now if I want to highlight this, I can actually go around and just double it. So what I would encourage you is, as you're seeing me draw, why don't you also take up a paper, a pen and draw your own arrows? In fact, if you remember, we had our workbook where we were working and you can add these arrows up there. A very simple way to highlight your arrow. I think we're almost done. There, we have highlighted an arrow. Another arrow that we would like to draw, a very simple one, could be drawing an arrow in bits. So you see, I'm drawing the shaft, but I'm drawing it in pieces. I draw this into small rectangular blocks. This one will carry the arrowhead. So again, you can put a dot and the arrowhead. You want to shade it in, you can do that. There you go. Another arrow. This will look beautiful when we highlight it. You want to draw a converging arrow. So you see line goes in a bit of a slant. I go from here also and I take it upwards. So it comes up in a sort of a bottleneck. From here, again we'll draw the head of the arrow. You can draw this outside. So you see this is going in, this is projecting out, and then we just join these edges. For the back, to make it look beautiful, you can draw the ribbon structure here. That's another sort of an arrow. Suppose you want to draw a spring arrow. And then the arrowhead here. We can draw the same arrow highlighted sort. Let's try one. In case you feel I'm rushing through, you can pause the video and draw the arrows yourself. And then continue to try to work with me. It's not so difficult. A little practice and you'll be able to do it. So if we want to just broadly shade it in. Let's use some broader lines. There you go. Let's try another sort of a wavy arrow. I draw the arrow tail, then I just go up, I follow the wave that I've just drawn. Again, when you come to the arrowhead, we have 6 arrows ready. Let's try and highlight them before we move on to our next arrows. So for this one, you can use a normal highlighter, you can even use a brush pen. And how we highlight is we just go on one side of the arrow. If you look at this one, there, it gives it the effect of depth. I would prefer, if you're trying for the first time, you can use a brush pen. It'll give you that beautiful touch. If you want to shade both sides, you can even do that. Here I've shaded over the arrow. This curvy one, you see the difference the highlighting makes? Let's try another set of arrows. If you feel there are things you haven't been able to draw, you can pause the video and then draw it. Let's try a different type of arrow. An arrow pointing downwards, but in the shape of a ribbon. So I'm drawing the arrowhead downwards. I close the arrow here. So if you see, it's pretty short, but there's a purpose to it. So right from the center of it, parallel to the arrowhead, I'll draw a longer line. And I'll draw a parallel line here, close it in. Do you feel that bend? This gives the beauty to it. You can close it in as a ribbon. Let's try one more. How about an arrow pointing sideways in the same pattern? So this is the shaft that I've drawn, the arrowhead, I will draw a longer line here. Once you shade this in, this gives the feeling of a ribbon. Some more arrows. So suppose I want to draw an arrow or arrows pointing in both directions. Done that this side. So in your workbook, you can have a collection of arrows. Wherever you come across some nice arrows, you can draw them and have your own graphic booklet ready. How about a cute arrow in case anyone likes journaling? Or probably where you're trying to tell that multiple factors lead to that particular direction. An arrow pointing upwards. When I'm confused whether my arrowhead will be neat or not, it's always a good way to draw dot. You can get creative in drawing arrows. You can draw arrows in multiple ways. You can even draw a curvy arrow. Let's try one that's pointing downwards. Want to give it a beautiful effect? This will look nicer when we shade it up. Suppose you're drawing on a huge paper and you want to draw something that's really big and bold. You can try this one. You can actually scale it up so that it can really look huge and big when you're pointing to a particular subject. You want to double shade an arrow. Again, the shaft. Now if I want to double shade it, I'll start a little behind the main shaft. I go along the same lines, sort of building a shadow for it. Go upwards. Again, I take a little behind the main arrowhead. Now I can just shade this in. There you go. So there are multiple ways we can make arrows. Let's try highlighting these. Highlighting is a beautiful part of helping your arrow to pop up. So for this one, I'll just highlight it on one side. There you go. How about this one? This one which was going up. The one we just shaded. Here you go. So these are different ways of making and creating your arrow. I hope you practice and you enjoy drawing these arrows. Thank you.